So the fourth workflow is focused on shifting from an audience of one, which is really typical, right? The teacher as audience for student work, to an authentic audience. And I will say this, for me, when I think about my teaching career, has to be one of those game changer moments when I started realizing, why would I have students create things that only I am going to see? Like, in that scenario, their mindset is very much like, well, I want it to be good enough. But when we start to ask students to present their ideas and their works and artifacts of learning to an actual audience, it goes from that mentality of, I want it to be good enough, to, oh, I want it to be good. So when I shifted to a project-based approach to my own work in my own classroom, at the end of each project, kids were creating something, and they had a lot of options. They had a lot of choices. They got to look through lenses of interest, but the culminating event for each project was an exposition. And we would invite other students from other cores, parents, community members. I wrote the school board and always invited them in. And it was fascinating because as students prepared for the exposition, they would pair and group up, and they would practice kind of presenting their ideas and showing their work. And they would request, they were like hungry for time to prepare. And it was just this reminder of how incredibly powerful preparing work or sharing work with an audience can actually be at helping students feel really invested in that work and wanting it to be the best representation of what they're capable of.
And I mean, we feel this all the time. Like, if you and I had written the manuscript for this book on student workflows to give to a professor, and no one was ever going to see it, like, we would not ever have like committed to the peer review process and developmental editing and revisions. And like, it would basically be like, we did a manuscript, we did a pretty good job on it, like, here you go. Mm-hmm. And every peer reviewer gave us such like different, amazing, rich feedback. And that's about that authentic audience piece and the diversity of an authentic audience. Mm-hmm. And so, as with other workflows, we want it to be really concrete. And we talk about the raft strategy, which can be used in any content area. We talk about the importance of really having students go through the process of analyzing what is their task and who is their audience, getting to know the audience, doing some research, and really having conversations and thinking about, like, what does this audience need? What are our goals here? And then lastly, truly trying to provide opportunities for students to share their work widely, doing things like gallery walks or expositions, or, a lot of different schools are having like these kind of TED Talks, these student-run TED Talks, where they're trying to make learning really authentic and really public within the community, which again, as soon as I know that more eyes are going to be on our work, the more I want to make sure that I understand who is the work for, and are we honoring that audience as we craft it. So you can think about doing that in any content area as you go through this workflow shift. And what it also means is kind of less correcting, which we'll get to in another workflow. But you're not like the one standing there with this like wand being like, and I give you a B or 3 or whatever you want to call it. You have met proficiency, but that this is a shared moment of reflection.